Greetings and welcome to 2023. I hope that this new year is already bringing you joy and prosperity and that you're making strides towards all of your goals. If you heard last week's episode, then you already know, but for those of you just joining us, we have a live show coming up on February 11th at the Miracle Theater in Washington, D.C. The theme is Love on Screen, and we'll have a night of comedy, storytelling, and discussions of love in all of its forms in television and film. Tickets are currently on sale, and the link to them and details about the night are available in our show notes. Now, this is the final week you can use the discount code EARLYBIRD to get $10 off, so get your tickets today. Also, if you're a member of the Patreon, there's a 50% discount available for patrons, and I've posted that discount code in Patreon. So if you've been looking for a reason to become a patron, you should join us, and the link to join is also in the show notes. On today's episode, we have a guest who's been on the show before, but I want to give her a special shout out because she's a featured storyteller in our live show. I'll introduce her while we do the review. And along with reviewing today's movie, we'll tease her story a little bit in advance of the live show. All right, well, let's get to the movie, which is Whitney Houston, I Want to Dance with Somebody. I'm Ronald Young Jr., and I'm leaving the theater.
Check. All right. This is Ronald, and I am leaving the theater after seeing Whitney Houston, I Want to Dance with Somebody. Whitney Houston, I Want to Dance with Somebody, directed by Casey Lemmons, written by Anthony McCarten, starring Naomi Ackie, Stanley Tucci, Ashton Sanders, Tamara Tunie, Nafessa Williams, Clarke Peters, Bria Danielle, Singleton, and for a complete cast listing, you can check out the link in our show notes. I am not here alone. I am here with
Diana Veiga. That's right. I'm giving you Whitney Houston-esque vocals right there.
Wow, that's what you want to go with?
Correct.
Okay. I like that you committed to it, to say the least. I like that you committed to it. All right, so Whitney Houston, I Want to Dance with Somebody. This is the... No, we can't just run across... Whitney Houston, I Want to Dance with Somebody. This is the biopic. No, I have stuff to do. Oh my God, this car's going to kill us. We got to go. Come on. We got to commit. Okay. All right. Whitney Houston, I Want to Dance with Somebody is the biopic about renowned singer Whitney Houston, who tragically died at age 48 to an accidental drowning. She sang a lot of the 80s and 90s, was known as the voice of our generation. And this biopic attempts to tell that story. Diana, what did you think of the movie?
Wow. I don't know.
Let's just stand over here.
Okay. You know, there's been a few TV movies about Whitney Houston, right? And I've watched, I don't know, at least one, and it's kind of like, I will say this movie felt like a big screen movie. It had the glitz and the glamour and the, like, wardrobe and real actors and stuff. That's the good stuff. But it was too damn long, and you just cannot capture Whitney Houston. I'm sorry. I know Clive Davis tried, but it just, you can't. It's just Whitney.
I think you nailed it, honestly. For me personally, I think one of the hardest parts about this movie is its runtime. This is my second time seeing it, admittedly. Sure. And the first time I saw it, I had a better rating for it. And it was mostly because I think the parts that this movie does well It does really well. Like the parts where, you know, you get chills thinking that that's Whitney Houston.
Yeah.
That's very exciting. But like the parts where they have to like just act or not sing or just be a regular movie are just not very good. The pacing is bad. There was some editing that could have been done here. They left significant parts out, which made me think that they ran out of time, which like tells me that they weren't using their time efficiently to begin with. And I think if you have a story that spans essentially over 3 decades, then maybe you should like pick less of the story to tell and focus on that rather than trying to focus on every single thing. I mean, they covered the mismanagement of her money, her relationship with Bobby Brown, her relationship with her best friend Robin Crawford,
and
lover, her as a mother, her relationship with Clive Davis, her relationship with her mother.
Right.
They covered all of these in a way that really didn't feel like it gave service to any of them individually, but kind of threw them in this omnibus fashion. And I think that made the movie feel like rushed and packed and long.
So long. I think they were trying to find that balance of like, Whitney was a star, but also a person. And it just didn't work because there was, like you're saying, there's so many different aspects of her life that they tried to cover. And it was a lot. It was too, and I'm sorry, but why didn't they tell us what year it was? It was just like moving through time, but not, and it made sense because it was chronological. But it was like, what year is like? Put some dates on the screen. I knew because I was there, but I just need like a reminder. And then it went from what, like the 90s?
It went from 1983 until 2012. The pick up the story in 1983, it ends in 2012.
Yes, but there was like a gap of time. Like you said, I guess they just ran out of time.
No, that's absolutely.
From what? Like whenever she went to rehab the first time, that was what? Like 03?
I have no idea because the movie didn't tell me. And like, to be honest with you, I'm not really going to be overly concerned about now after watching the movie because I'm like, I can go back. What this movie does is make me want to go on a deep dive Google search about Whitney. It doesn't make me want to watch the movie again, but it does make me want to think more about Whitney and that timeline. And you're absolutely right. They only put times on the screen at the times when it felt the most irrelevant to me. They put a time on the screen when she was singing at in South Africa at the concert for Nelson Mandela, and I was like, oh, I didn't need to know what time this was. That didn't matter to me at all. What did matter is whether it didn't tell me the time between when she got married and when she was like starting to struggle with exhaustion or when she found out she had money problems or any of that. They weren't telling us that passage of time or how old anyone was, because when we meet Whitney Houston, she's supposed to be 16 and it's the same actress playing her until she is 48. So if you don't have date times in there, as far as we're concerned, we're just like, okay, this ageless wonder is moving right along. You guys aren't going to switch. Yeah. Just changing them over and over again. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think like for me, I think that was pretty much a failure of this movie. And I wouldn't watch it again if I didn't have to watch it twice in this case. Like watching it this time felt more painful. And it was crazy watching your reaction during this movie because you actually looked over at me and said, I'm ready for this movie to be over. And you were having a good time a few times. But you at one point you were like, I'm done with this. I don't want to do this anymore. And I'm like, if you are, and this is your first time watching it, I don't know what it's like for somebody like me who had to watch it twice.
Yeah. I would not watch it again. As an 80s baby who grew up with Whitney Houston, though, it was everything to, like, remember those memories. I have to say, I had a little record player, and I had this Saving All My Love for You. It was a one song on the record, and I played it out. I was only, like, 5, and I did not know that song was about having an affair.
The funny thing about it is, like, I think we all have a story exactly like that, where it's like, name one song you had no business singing as a child. You know what I mean? And I remember I listened to that once, and I'm like, yo, that song is beautiful. If you listen to the lyrics, you're like, wait a minute. Are you SZA? Are you the side chick of 80s and 90s? Like, you are crushing it, and the song is beautiful.
I was singing that song out all over the house. But so that, like, because Whitney Houston was amazing as a little black girl back in the day. Like, you cannot take that away from her. And I do feel like Casey Lemmons, right? Lyman?
Yep, Casey Lemmons.
Casey Lemmons. She did handle it with care. And you could tell as a black woman who's like of that same generation, like she really wanted to do Whitney justice and like show the beauty of her voice and like her person. And so I respect where she was trying to go. It's just, you cannot do all of that. And it can't be contained. Like Whitney needs like a mini series, a good one though.
It was a very ambitious project. I definitely think this one missed the mark in that regard. However, if you want to go see it and enjoy and remember Whitney and remember the music, do that. But after that, you'll get online. You'll jump on Spotify. You'll jump on Apple Music and do all the things.
Listen to Whitney all day,
which is fine. And I think that's a good effect of this.
Baby tonight.
Yeah, but I'm like, okay. So with all of that being said, what would you rate it out of 5 stars?
Oh, a 2.5.
Wow. I agree. A 2.75 is what I would give it. So we are, like that's good. I think we're in the same ballpark. And I would agree. And I think like one thing I realized about you, Diana, is that like you don't rewatch movies, one, and two, you're very much like you're a person that goes and sees the movie and walks away and be like, that was nice. And like, I'm good. And I'm saying, if you're walking into this movie, because I'm like, my analytical brain is going like all of like why did they shoot it like this? Why didn't they cut to Whitney at the very end when she's singing? Like, why didn't they cut the real Whitney at the very end of the movie? That's crazy.
That
like,
been dope.
but like, I'm thinking about that. And I'm saying, if you, like, I feel like a more casual moviegoer is saying like, that ain't it, then I feel like this movie's not going to fare well. You know what I mean?
Wow, you just called me a casual movie viewer, but that's
okay. Are you
come to the movies when Ryan likes?
Yeah, don't even say it like it's an insult. Get out of here.
No. Yeah. I mean, like if you can go to the theater to see it, if you want to do that, but definitely if it came on. Like, if it goes to HBO Max or whatever, watch it. Like, I think it's worth, like, a rainy Saturday afternoon watch.
If you can pause it, yes, you should watch it.
Yes.
If you got to watch it in theaters, I wouldn't do that. Now, Diana, before I let you go, you are one of the storytellers on my upcoming live show in February. Are you excited?
I am.
Can you give us a little hint about what your story will be about?
My story is an unexpected love story between two people you would not think would be soulmates.
I love it. And I've heard this story before, and I'm very excited for all of you to hear. Yeah. Fun fact, I've heard this story many times. I've heard every version of it. I've heard this story a lot, and I'm excited for all of you to hear it. So again, you can get your tickets to the live show at the link in the show notes. Right now, we are still running the early bird deal, which means you get $10 off of tickets by using the code EARLYBIRD. But I'm so excited that you're going to be there with us.
Yes, me too. Can't wait to see everyone.
And with that, Leaving the Theater is a production of OhitsBigRon Studios. Thomas Tyra of Bias Studios mixes the show. Thank you, Tom. Show art from Heather Wilder. Theme music by the mysterious Breakmaster Cylinder. For more information about Whitney Houston, I Wanna Dance with Somebody, or Diana Veiga, check out our show notes. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at OhitsBigRon. That's at OhitsBigRon. You can find out more about this show and other OhitsBigRon Studio shows by following us on Instagram at OhitsBigRon Studios and on Twitter at OhitsBigRon Stu. That's STEW. Leaving the Theater will be back soon. Thanks for listening.